In this video, I will talk about how a dispute between two former friends ended tragically, changing the lives of two families forever. Let's start by discussing the two central figures in this case, Bryanna and Halia Culbertson. Bryanna is from Westerville, a small town in Ohio, United States. She was 18 years old at the time of the events, a student at Columbus State University, and had no criminal history. On the other hand, Halia Culbertson, the other girl involved in this case, was 17 years old. The incident occurred on March 26, 2023, which means it's quite recent. According to sources, the two girls already knew each other, but their past interactions were not disclosed. Some reports indicate that they were very close friends, while others say they merely had mutual friends and occasionally interacted. The fact is that what was supposed to be a mere teenage fight changed the lives of two young women in an instant and devastated two families. It all happened on March 26, 2023, when Bryanna stabbed Halia with a knife during a fight outside a convenience store in their hometown. As mentioned, the two girls had been friends in the past but had a falling out that caused them to drift apart. On the night of the incident, Bryanna entered the convenience store unaware that her former friend was there. That's when a discussion between the two began. According to reports, the argument escalated quickly and became violent. Halia was more agitated and was removed from the store by an employee but remained outside, seemingly waiting for Bryanna. Footage of the argument inside the establishment was captured on surveillance video and used by the police during the investigation. When Bryanna exited the store with a man, Halia approached them in the parking lot and confronted her. She then threatened, pushed, and struck Bryanna while Bryanna repeatedly backed away, insisting that she didn't want to fight. As the argument intensified, Bryanna brandished a knife at Halia and stabbed her once in the chest. Halia only realized she had been injured after seeing blood on her chest, once the fight had already ended. Columbus police were called to respond to a report of a person injured outside a store at 11:48 p.m. that night. The victim was identified as Halia Culbertson, 17, who had a stab wound to her chest. Halia was rushed to a local hospital by the police and her condition was critical. At 12:24 a.m. the following day, Halia Culbertson succumbed to her severe injury at Riverside Health Medical Center in Ohio. An autopsy confirmed that the cause of death was the stab wound to her chest caused by the knife. Louis Barnett, a customer at the convenience store who witnessed the crime and spoke with the police, expressed shock at the incident and stated that the lives of our youth are ending far too quickly. The man said it is frightening to know that such things are happening. The establishment is a store where people often buy food for quick trips. It is located near a busy avenue, and nothing like this had ever occurred there before. Bryanna was found by the police later at her home. She admitted to having pointed a knife at the victim during their fight. Later, in her first statement, Bryanna confessed to the crime and told detectives that she had a knife and used it during the altercation. From there, she began to be accused of taking the life of Halia Culbertson. The court imposed a bail of $750,000 with strict conditions, including prohibiting Bryanna from carrying weapons and contacting the victim's family. She was initially held in custody, but was released shortly afterward after posting bail. On March 28, 2024, Bryanna had her first hearing. During this hearing, footage from the security cameras at the crime scene was presented. The footage showed the beginning and end of the fight that resulted in Halia's death. Several witnesses who were present identified Bryanna as the person who inflicted the injury on the victim. Bryanna left the scene before the police arrived. A cell phone video recorded by one of Halia's friends outside the store was also shown during the hearing. In the video, the two girls can be seen arguing before Halia approaches Bryanna and slaps her.
Hey, get off my sister, bro. Get off my sister. Hey, if you touch my sister, I'm gonna have to put my phone down, bro. Halia, crunch her to get it over with, bro. Crunch her, get it over with, Halia.
When Halia recoiled after hitting Bryanna, it was then that she appears to have been stabbed. The fight between the two continued even after the injury. When they were finally separated, the video shows that the front of Halia's shirt was covered in blood. Bryanna's lawyer stated that the case resulted from a fight that got out of control. In a statement, he claimed that his client did not intend to take Halia's life and that she acted in self-defense. Although Bryanna was initially charged with murder, the state eventually accepted a request from the defense to reduce it to manslaughter. In this case, Bryanna would face a much lighter sentence, potentially being sentenced to up to 3 years in prison instead of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole in 15 years. After negotiations, the court agreed to sign a plea deal with the defendant, allowing her to plead guilty to a manslaughter charge. The prosecutors then dropped the first-degree murder charge, which surprised many. Instead, they presented a manslaughter charge in early June 2024. Throughout the period leading up to the trial, the question lingered. Was the case a fight between two teenagers that turned deadly, a deliberate crime, or an act of self-defense? While the investigation was ongoing, Bryanna was preparing to argue at her trial that she stabbed Halia Culbertson in self-defense. In the state of Ohio, if a defendant claims that an assault or homicide was in self-defense, the law requires the prosecutors to prove that the action was not in self-defense. Before the law changed in 2019, defendants were responsible for proving to the jury that it was self-defense. In other words, the burden of proof was reversed. Thus, the prosecutors worked with evidence of text messages that Bryanna had sent to another person. Knowing this, Bryanna's lawyer asked the judge to prevent these messages from being presented during the trial, as they were sent a week before the incident. The text messages included statements from Bryanna, in which she said she would cut Halia if she came near her again. The trial of Bryanna Barazzini took place in Franklin County, one of the 88 counties in the state of Ohio. The young woman was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the crime against Halia Culbertson, 17. The hearing was quite tense and tumultuous. This was because the presiding judge gave the victim's family members the chance to speak for over an hour before delivering his sentence against the defendant. Halia's family claims that Bryanna intentionally took the young woman's life and that it was all premeditated. Throughout the trial, Bryanna appeared calm but with a sad expression, as she already knew her sentence due to the plea deal. Her defense highlighted her cooperation with the investigation and the fact that she had never been involved in illegal activities before. Bryanna spoke briefly before being sentenced, stating that she understood how much pain and harm she had caused. She said she would live with that guilt for the rest of her life. If Bryanna behaves, she will have the opportunity to request early release from prison, which will be considered by a judge when the time comes. After the sentencing, Bryanna was taken to prison, where she began serving her sentence. Not only Halia's family was shaken by the situation, but also Bryanna's family. Bryanna had never been involved in anything serious before, and suddenly being responsible for taking someone's life turned her family's life upside down. Currently, Bryanna Barazzini is serving her sentence in a women's prison in the state of Ohio. This tragic case makes us reflect on how arguments can escalate into irreversible consequences. The lives of two young women and their families have been drastically changed forever. What do you think could have been done to prevent this tragedy? Do you think Bryanna intended to take Halia's life, or was it self-defense? If you have any information about this case that I might have missed, please share it in the comments. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.